"I'm not coming back," my husband said. I stood frozen in our kitchen, the phone pressed against my ear, his words hanging in the air like smoke that wouldn't clear. For a moment, I wondered if I'd misheard him. "What do you mean?" My voice was surprisingly steady despite the sudden hollowness in my chest. Outside our bay window, cherry blossoms swirled in the April breeze, landing on the driveway where his car should have been. "I can't do this anymore." "Melody," Daniel's voice cracked slightly. But there was resolution there, too. A decision already made, a bridge already burning. "I've been trying to make this work for too long." A strange calm settled over me, the kind that comes before a storm. In the background of his call, I heard what sounded like a door closing, muffled voices. He wasn't alone. "Where are you?" I asked, though I already suspected the answer. The pause told me everything. "It doesn't matter where I am," he finally said. "I just wanted you to know I won't be home tonight. Or after." After. Such a small word for the end of 12 years together. I hung up without saying goodbye. The kitchen timer beeped. The salmon I'd been preparing for our anniversary dinner was perfectly cooked. I switched off the oven mechanically, my body operating on autopilot while my mind reeled. Only then did I notice the text message that had come through while I was on the phone. "I'm so sorry. Mel, I never meant for this to happen. We need to talk." Claire, my closest friend since college. The woman who had been my maid of honor, who had held my hand through 2 miscarriages, who knew every secret I'd ever had. And suddenly, with horrifying clarity, I understood exactly where Daniel was. 3 months earlier, Earth to Melody. Claire waved her hand in front of my face, laughing. "Where'd you go?" I blinked, forcing my attention back to our lunch table. "Sorry, work stuff." I took a sip of my wine, hoping she wouldn't press further. The truth was, I'd been thinking about Daniel's increasingly late nights at the architectural firm, his distracted kisses, the growing distance between us that felt like a widening fault line. "Still having trouble with the Thompson account?" Claire asked, her hazel eyes concerned. With her auburn hair falling in perfect waves and her flawlessly tailored navy dress, she looked like she'd stepped off a magazine cover, as usual. "The Thompson account is fine," I said, managing a smile. "It's home stuff, actually." Claire reached across the table and squeezed my hand. "Daniel?" I nodded. "We're just passing each other lately. He's consumed with this new resort project, and I'm drowning in client presentations." I ran my finger around the rim of my glass. "Last night we realized we hadn't had an actual conversation in over a week." "Oh, honey." Claire's sympathy felt like a warm blanket. "That's just a phase. All marriages go through them. I know that intellectually, but it still feels—" I struggled to find the words. "Lonely," she finished for me. "Yeah." I looked up at her gratefully. Claire always understood. She'd been there through everything, celebrating our victories, mourning our losses. While other friendships had faded over the years, ours had only grown stronger. "How do you always know exactly what I'm thinking?" Something flickered across her face, so brief I almost missed it. Guilt? Discomfort? But then it was gone, replaced by her familiar warm smile. "Because I'm psychic," she joked. "Now enough about domestic troubles. Tell me about the promotion. Are you going to take it?" I let her change the subject, pushing away the strange feeling that she was keeping something from me. Claire had been single for nearly 2 years after her divorce from Mark. She dated occasionally, but seemed content with her independence, her flourishing interior design business, and our friendship. If something was bothering her, she'd tell me when she was ready. "The promotion means longer hours," I said. "I'm not sure that's what Daniel and I need right now." "Or maybe it's exactly what you need. Something for yourself." Claire signaled the waiter for another round. "Don't put your life on hold because your marriage is in a slump." "It's not a slump," I said defensively. Claire gave me a knowing look. "When was the last time you two had sex?" Heat rushed to my face. "Claire! That long, huh?" She laughed. "Look, all I'm saying is take the promotion. Be brilliant. Let Daniel miss you a little. Sometimes distance makes the heart grow fonder." I nodded. considering her advice. Claire had always been the more ambitious one, the risk-taker. I tended to play it safe, to compromise. Maybe she was right. Besides, she continued, if you take the promotion, we can celebrate with a weekend at my lake house. No husbands, no phones, just wine and gossip and sleeping until noon. That sounds perfect, I admitted, already feeling lighter. As we finished lunch, Claire hugged me tightly. Everything's going to work out, she whispered. Trust me. I did trust her. Completely. And that was my first mistake. The promotion came with a corner office, a significant raise, and exactly what Claire had predicted. Longer hours. For 2 weeks, I barely saw Daniel. We exchanged quick texts, brief kisses in the morning, and fell into bed exhausted at night. Then came the business trip to Chicago, 3 days of meetings with potential clients. I called Daniel from my hotel room the first night, surprised when it went straight to voicemail. Hey, it's me, I said after the beep. Just wanted to hear your voice. Call me when you get this, even if it's late. Miss you. He didn't call back. The next morning, I texted him. Everything okay? His response came hours later. Sorry, crazy deadline. Talk when you're back. I pushed down my disappointment and focused on work. By the time I returned home Thursday evening, I was determined to reconnect with my husband. I stopped at the market, buying ingredients for his favorite meal, grilled steak with roasted potatoes and asparagus. I picked up a bottle of the Cabernet we'd discovered on our honeymoon in Napa. I was chopping vegetables when I heard his key in the lock. My heart lifted. Something smells amazing, he said, setting down his briefcase. I turned, smiling. Welcome home dinner. I thought we could use a proper meal together. Daniel looked tired but pleased. He crossed the kitchen and kissed me. A real kiss this time, not the distracted pecks of recent weeks. I've missed you. You have? I couldn't keep the surprise from my voice. Of course I have. He brushed my hair back from my face, his touch achingly familiar. The house feels empty without you. We ate dinner at the actual dining table instead of in front of the TV. We talked about my trip, his project, shared a second bottle of wine. It felt like us again. The easy conversation, the laughter, the knowing glances. Later in bed, we rediscovered each other with an urgency that surprised me. Afterward, lying in his arms, I felt tears prick my eyes. Hey, he said softly, noticing. What's wrong? Nothing, I whispered. I just missed this. Missed us. He tightened his arms around me. I'm sorry I've been so distant. This project is just... I know, I said. We're both guilty. But let's not drift so far again, okay? He kissed the top of my head. Never. I fell asleep believing him, believing in us. Another mistake. The next morning, Daniel left for work early. I stretched lazily in bed, feeling more optimistic than I had in months. My phone buzzed with a text from Claire. Lunch today? Need to talk to you about something important. I texted back. Can't today, catching up after trip. Tomorrow? Her response was quick. Has to be today, please. It's urgent. Concerned, I rearranged my schedule. We met at a quiet cafe near her design studio at 1 p.m. One look at her face told me something was seriously wrong. Claire, what is it? Are you okay? She looked down at her untouched salad. I don't know how to tell you this. My mind raced through possibilities. Health problems, trouble with her business, family issues. Whatever it is, we'll figure it out together. She took a deep breath. I saw Daniel yesterday. Okay, I said slowly, not understanding her distress. With someone. The words hung between us, their meaning not immediately registering. Then it hit me like a physical blow. What do you mean, with someone? My voice had gone very quiet. Claire's eyes filled with tears. They were at Riverfront Cafe, having lunch. They looked intimate. Intimate how? I demanded, my pulse pounding in my ears. He was holding her hand across the table. They were leaning close, talking intently. Claire hesitated. They kissed, Mel. I'm so sorry. The world tilted sharply. I gripped the edge of the table. Did he see you? She shook her head. I left before they noticed me. Who was she? My voice sounded strange, detached. I don't know. Young, blonde, pretty. Each word was like a knife. I thought about the night before, the connection I thought we'd rekindled, the promises whispered in the dark. Had it all been a lie? I shouldn't have told you, Claire said, misinterpreting my silence. But I couldn't keep it from you. You deserve to know. No, you did the right thing, I managed to say. Thank you for being honest with me. But as I sat there, trying to process this revelation, something didn't fit. Daniel had seemed genuinely happy to see me last night, genuinely present with me. Could he really be that good an actor? Are you sure it was him? I asked suddenly. Absolutely sure? Claire looked offended. Of course I'm sure, Mel. I've known Daniel for as long as you have. And you're sure it wasn't, I don't know, a business lunch? Business colleagues don't usually hold hands and kiss, she said gently. I know this is hard to hear, I nodded numbly. I need to go. Do you want me to come with you? You shouldn't be alone right now. No, I said quickly. Too quickly, perhaps. I need time to think. Claire looked hurt but understanding. Call me later, please. I'm worried about you. I promised I would and left, my lunch uneaten. Instead of going back to the office, I drove aimlessly, Claire's words echoing in my head. Daniel and I had problems, yes, but infidelity? It seemed impossible. In 12 years, I'd never once questioned his fidelity, but why would Claire lie? By the time I got home that evening, I'd convinced myself there had to be an explanation. I would simply ask him directly. We'd promised honesty always. Daniel was already home, cooking dinner, a rarity. Hey, he said, smiling when I walked in. I thought I'd return the favor from last night. He was making pasta, my favorite. I watched him moving around our kitchen with easy familiarity, looking for signs of guilt, distance, anything that would confirm Claire's story. I saw nothing but my husband, the man I'd loved for over a decade. Daniel, I said carefully. Were you at Riverfront Cafe yesterday? His hands stilled briefly over the cutting board where he was chopping basil. Then he resumed. Yeah, for lunch. Why? My heart sank. Who were you with? He turned to face me, expression puzzled. A client. Charlotte Wells, from the resort project. We had a working lunch to go over some changes to the designs. Did you hold her hand? His eyebrows shot up. What? No, of course not. Did you kiss her? Now he looked completely bewildered. Melody, what the hell is this about? Claire saw you, I said, watching his face closely. She said you were being intimate with a blonde woman. Understanding dawned in his eyes, followed quickly by anger. Claire said that? I nodded. He set down the knife and wiped his hands. Charlotte is blonde, yes. And we had lunch at Riverfront. But there was absolutely nothing inappropriate happening. He took out his phone, scrolled through his emails, and handed it to me. Here's the email chain about the meeting. It's all business. I read through the messages. Straightforward professional correspondence about design revisions. Daniel continued. Charlotte is 28, newly engaged, and brought her fiancé to our firm's Christmas party last year. You met her, remember? A vague memory surfaced. A cheerful blonde woman showing off her engagement ring, introducing a tall man with glasses. I felt sick with relief and confusion. But why would Claire say those things? Daniel's expression darkened. I think that's a question you should ask your friend. I called Claire that night after Daniel fell asleep. She answered on the first ring. Mel, thank God, I've been so worried. Claire, I talked to Daniel. He says he was having a business lunch with Charlotte Wells. He showed me their email exchanges. A pause. And you believe him? I don't know what to believe anymore, I admitted. But I've never known Daniel to lie to me. People can surprise you, Claire said softly. Sometimes the ones closest to us are the best at hiding the truth. Her words sent an unexpected chill through me. What exactly did you see, Claire? Details. I told you, tell me again, I interrupted. Everything, she sighed. I was passing by the cafe around 1:30. I glanced in and saw Daniel at a window table with this blonde woman. They were leaning close, talking intently. He reached across the table and took her hand. Then he leaned over and kissed her. It wasn't a friendly peck, Mel. On the lips? Yes? You're absolutely certain it was Daniel? For God's sake, Melody, I know what your husband looks like. Her voice had an edge I'd rarely heard. Why are you questioning me instead of him? Because nothing about this makes sense, I said. Daniel and I have had problems, but he's never given me reason to doubt his faithfulness. Until now, Claire said. No, I said firmly. Not even now. I need to see things with my own eyes. Claire was silent for a long moment. What are you going to do? I don't know yet, I said honestly. But thank you for telling me what you saw. After hanging up, I lay awake for hours, listening to Daniel's steady breathing beside me. Something wasn't right, but I couldn't put my finger on what. I needed evidence one way or another. The next morning, I made a decision. I would trust, but verify. Over the next 2 weeks, I became someone I never thought I'd be, a wife spying on her husband. I checked his phone when he was in the shower. I looked through his emails. I even drove by his office at lunch one day to see if his car was there. It always was. Daniel noticed my strange behavior. Is everything okay? He asked one night as I returned his phone to the nightstand after he'd left it there while brushing his teeth. Fine, I lied. Just checking the time. He didn't look convinced, but he didn't press. Meanwhile, Claire checked in daily. Any updates? She would ask. Anything suspicious? Always, I had to tell her no. Daniel's life seemed completely transparent. Work, home, occasional drinks with colleagues, which he always told me about in advance. No unexplained absences, no mysterious texts or calls. I began to wonder if Claire had been mistaken. Perhaps she'd seen someone who looked like Daniel. Perhaps the light had played tricks. Then came the weekend Daniel said he needed to go to the construction site upstate. An overnight trip, leaving Saturday morning, returning Sunday evening. I'm sorry to miss our weekend, he said, kissing me goodbye. But they've hit a snag with the foundation, and I need to see it firsthand. I understand, I said, and I did. Work emergencies happened. An hour after he left, Claire called. Let's do that lake house weekend. Daniel's away, right? Perfect timing, I hesitated. How did you know Daniel's away? A beat of silence. You mentioned it last week, remember? When we were texting about potential plans? Had I? I couldn't recall. But it seemed plausible. I don't know, Claire. I've got a lot of work to catch up on. All the more reason to get away, she insisted. Clear your head. We can drive up this afternoon. Come back tomorrow night. Say yes. Perhaps she was right. The strain of suspicion and surveillance was wearing on me. A break would do me good. Okay, I agreed. Let's do it. Claire's lake house was actually a lakefront cottage her parents had left her, a charming 2-bedroom retreat about 90 minutes outside the city. We arrived just before sunset, the water gleaming golden in the dying light. I've missed this place, I said as we carried our bags inside. It had been over a year since I'd been here. Life had gotten too busy for weekend getaways. Me too, Claire said, setting down a cooler filled with wine and cheese. I should come up more often. We spent the evening on the deck, drinking wine, talking about everything except Daniel and the cloud hanging over my marriage. It felt like old times, just two friends enjoying each other's company without complications. I've been thinking about selling the cottage, Claire said as we watched the stars come out. Really? But you love it here, she shrugged. It's a lot of upkeep for how little I use it, and honestly, the memories are complicated. I understood what she meant. Claire and Mark had spent many weekends here during their marriage. After their divorce, she'd avoided the place for nearly a year. What changed your mind about coming up this weekend? I asked. She looked at me, her expression unreadable in the dim light. You needed it. We both did. Later, as I settled into the guest bedroom, I texted Daniel. At Claire's lake house for the night. Reception spotty. Call when you can. He replied almost immediately. Have fun. Miss you already. Love you. Those 3 words, love you, gave me a pang. Despite weeks of doubt, I still believed them. I still wanted to believe them. The next morning, I woke to the smell of coffee and bacon. Claire was already up, preparing breakfast. Sleep well? she asked, sliding a mug toward me. Like a rock, I admitted. I guess I needed this more than I realized. We spent a lazy day by the lake, swimming, reading, dozing in the sun. By mid-afternoon, dark clouds were gathering on the horizon. Storm coming, Claire observed. We should probably head back soon. I nodded, feeling refreshed and more clear-headed than I had in weeks. Thank you for this. It was exactly what I needed. She smiled, squeezing my hand. What are friends for? As we were packing the car, my phone chimed with a text. It was from Ella, a colleague at my firm. Hey, just ran into Daniel at Philip's Coffee downtown. Said he's been trying to reach you. I stared at the message, confusion giving way to a cold, creeping dread. Daniel was supposed to be upstate until evening, and Philip's Coffee was downtown, in our city, not even remotely on the way back from the construction site. Claire noticed my expression. What's wrong? I showed her the text. Daniel's in the city. Not upstate, she frowned. Maybe he finished early and came back? Without telling me? I shook my head. And he said he's been trying to reach me, but I haven't had any missed calls. I dialed Daniel's number. It went straight to voicemail. I texted, "Where are you?" Ella said she saw you downtown. No response. Let's go, I said, sliding into the passenger seat. Now. Claire drove fast, the storm chasing us. By the time we reached the city limits, rain was falling in sheets. I kept calling Daniel. Kept getting his voicemail. Take me home, I told Claire, my voice tight with anxiety and anger. She glanced at me. Are you sure? If he's really been lying, you might not want to face him alone. I need to know, Claire. One way or another. She nodded and turned onto my street. Daniel's car was in the driveway. Do you want me to come in with you? Claire asked as she pulled up to the curb. I shook my head. This is between my husband and me. Call me later? She said, concern evident in her voice. Whatever happens. I promised I would and got out of the car, rain soaking me instantly. I watched Claire drive away, then turn toward my house, steeling myself for whatever confrontation awaited. The front door was unlocked. I stepped inside, dripping onto the entryway tiles. Daniel? I called, no answer. I moved through the house, tension building with each empty room. Finally, I climbed the stairs to our bedroom. The door was closed. I heard movement inside, shuffling, a drawer closing. I turned the handle. Daniel stood by the dresser, folding clothes into an overnight bag. He looked up, startled. Melody. You're back early. So are you, I said coldly. How was the construction site? His face fell. I can explain. Please do, I said, crossing my arms. Explain why you lied about where you were going. Explain why you didn't answer my calls. Explain why my colleague saw you downtown when you were supposed to be upstate. Daniel sat heavily on the edge of the bed. I wasn't at the construction site. Obviously. The hurt was giving way to rage. Where were you, Daniel? And don't lie to me again. He looked up, his eyes red-rimmed and exhausted. I was at the Harborview Hotel, the Harborview, a boutique hotel downtown, known for its discretion and luxury. My stomach twisted. With who? I was alone, he said quietly. I laughed bitterly. You expect me to believe that? You checked into a hotel alone for no reason? I needed space to think. About what? He ran his hands through his hair, a gesture of frustration I knew well. About us. About what happens next. What happens next? I repeated, the words not making sense. Sit down, Melody, please. I remained standing. Just tell me the truth. Are you having an affair? No, he said firmly. I've never been unfaithful to you. Then what? I think you're having an affair, he cut in, his voice breaking. With Claire. The accusation was so unexpected, so absurd, that I could only stare at him. What? I've seen the texts, Mel. The constant calls. How you light up when she walks into a room. How you drop everything when she needs you. She's my best friend. Is that all? He challenged. Because from where I'm sitting, it looks like a lot more. I sank into the chair by the window, stunned. You think I'm cheating on you with Claire? That's insane, Daniel, is it? He pulled out his phone, opened a text thread, and handed it to me. She sent this to me by mistake last month. It was meant for you. I looked at the screen. The message was from Claire. Can't stop thinking about last night. Miss your touch already, my head swam. This isn't... We were never... I struggled to make sense of it. Claire has never sent me messages like this. Ever. Daniel took the phone back. Then why would she send it to me thinking it was you? I don't know, I whispered, my world tilting on its axis. But I swear to you, Daniel, there is nothing between Claire and me. Nothing. He studied my face, searching for the truth. She told you she saw me at Riverfront Cafe, being intimate with some woman? I nodded. I was there with Charlotte, exactly as I told you. Business lunch, nothing more. He leaned forward. Did you know Claire was supposed to meet me there that day? To discuss the interior design possibilities for the resort. She canceled last minute. The pieces were beginning to align in a pattern I didn't want to see. She's been creating doubt, Melody, trying to drive a wedge between us. But why would she? Because she wants you for herself, he said simply. I think she has for a long time. I remembered Claire's strange look at lunch 3 months ago. Her insistence that I take the promotion, putting more distance between Daniel and me. Her urgent need to tell me about seeing Daniel with another woman. Her convenient suggestion of a weekend away just when Daniel would be gone. I've been watching her manipulate you for months, Daniel continued. At first I thought I was imagining things. But then the text started, and the way she'd call at all hours, always with some crisis only you could help with. I thought about the many evenings I'd left Daniel to rush to Claire's side. A breakup, a work disaster, a flooded apartment. Had those all been manufactured emergencies? The lake house this weekend, I said slowly. She insisted we go, said I needed to clear my head. Daniel nodded grimly. And conveniently, she knew I'd be away overnight. Because I told her, I said, but even as the words left my mouth, I wasn't sure. Had I mentioned it to her? Did you? Daniel asked quietly. I couldn't remember with certainty, and that frightened me more than anything. I need to talk to her, I said, standing up. Daniel caught my arm. Be careful, Mel. She's not who you think she is. I pulled away gently. I need to hear it from her. I called Claire from the car. Can you meet me? We need to talk. Of course, she said immediately. Is everything okay? Did you talk to Daniel? Yes. I'll tell you everything when I see you. Coffee factory in 30 minutes? I'll be there. The coffee shop was busy for a Sunday evening, full of students with laptops and couples enjoying the end of the weekend. Claire was already at a table in the back, 2 steaming mugs waiting. I ordered your usual, she said as I sat down. You look terrible. What happened? I took a deep breath. Daniel thinks we're having an affair. Claire's eyebrows shot up. What? He showed me a text you sent him last month, apparently meant for me. Something about missing my touch. Color drained from Claire's face. I never sent that. He has it on his phone, Claire. Then he fabricated it, she said, leaning forward intently. Mel, think about it. If I were secretly in love with you, why would I send such an obvious message to your husband? It was a fair point. He says you've been manipulating me, trying to separate us. Claire's laugh was sharp. That's rich coming from a cheater. He swears he's not cheating. Of course he does. She reached for my hand. Melody, he's gaslighting you. Making you doubt what you know to be true. Making you doubt me, your closest friend. So you'll have no one to turn to when the truth finally comes out. Her words had a convincing logic. But something felt off. The intensity of her gaze, the pressure of her fingers on mine. Too intimate somehow. You were supposed to meet Daniel at the Riverfront Cafe that day, I said. For business. You canceled. She withdrew her hand. Who told you that? Daniel, is it true? A flicker of something annoyance? Concern? Crossed her face. Yes, we were supposed to discuss some design options. But I got caught up with another client. It was just coincidence that I passed by later and saw him with that woman. Her name is Charlotte Wells, I said. She's his client and she's engaged. Claire shrugged. Names can be faked. Rings can be borrowed. People lie, Mel. Yes, I agreed. They do. We stared at each other across the table, 12 years of friendship suddenly a minefield of doubt. I saw your face when he accused us, I said quietly. You looked guilty, Claire. I was shocked. No, I shook my head. It was more than that. It was recognition. She sat back, a subtle shift in her demeanor. So you believe him over me? Just like that? I don't know what to believe anymore. I stood up. I need time to think. Melody, wait. She reached for me, but I stepped back. I'll call you, I said, though I wasn't sure I would. Outside, rain was still falling, matching my turbulent mood. I drove home slowly, mind racing through years of friendship, looking for signs I might have missed. Claire's protectiveness, her constant presence, the way she'd subtly criticized Daniel over the years, and Daniel's accusation. Was it possible? Could Claire have feelings for me that went beyond friendship? Had I been blind to it all this time? When I got home, the house was dark. Daniel's bag was gone from our bedroom. On the bed was a note, staying at Mark's tonight. We need space to sort this out. I love you, D. Mark. Daniel's college roommate and still one of his closest friends. Also, Claire's ex-husband. I picked up my phone and dialed a number I hadn't used in years. Mark answered on the third ring. Melody? Everything okay? I need to ask you something about Claire, I said without preamble. Something important. A pause. Go ahead. Why did you two really divorce? He sighed heavily. I assume Daniel's with you on this call? No, he's not here. But he told me something today that made me question everything. And I need the truth. The official story, irreconcilable differences, wasn't entirely false, Mark said carefully. But the specific difference was that I couldn't reconcile myself to being married to someone in love with someone else. My heart sank. Who is she in love with? You know who, Melody. His voice was gentle. It's always been you. From college, before she even met me. I thought she'd get over it after we married. She didn't. I closed my eyes, memories shuffling into new configurations. Claire's over-the-top excitement at my engagement to Daniel. Her teary speech at our wedding about how no one could love me as much as she did. Her devastation when I lost my pregnancies, beyond even the empathy of a close friend. Her immediate dislike of any new friends I made. Her subtle undermining of my relationship with Daniel. Does Daniel know? I asked. I told him last year, Mark admitted. When I noticed how Claire was always inserting herself between you two. He didn't believe me at first. Thought I was bitter about the divorce. But then he started paying attention. Why didn't he tell me? Would you have believed him? Mark asked. Over your best friend? No, I realized. I wouldn't have. Not without evidence. Is Daniel there now? I asked. Yeah, he's in the guest room. Want me to get him? No, I said. Just tell him I'm starting to understand. After hanging up, I sat in the dark, piecing together the twisted triangle of my marriage. All the subtle ways Claire had been working to separate us. All the doubts she'd planted. My phone buzzed with a text from her. I'm worried about you. Call me when you get home safely. I didn't respond. Another text. Mel, please. Don't let him turn you against me. I've always been there for you. Always. Still, I didn't respond. A third. I know you're upset and confused. Let me help you through this, like I always do, like she always did. Always there, always involved, always essential. I turned off my phone. The next morning, I called in sick to work and drove to Claire's design studio. Her assistant told me she was with a client at a home consultation. Which client? I asked. The Harrises on Lakeview Drive. She should be there until noon. I knew the area, an upscale neighborhood about 20 minutes away. I drove there, not entirely sure what I was going to do or say when I saw her. I just knew I needed to confront this situation head-on. As I turned onto Lakeview Drive, I spotted Claire's distinctive red Mini Cooper parked in front of a large Tudor-style home. I pulled up behind it and waited. At 11:45, Claire emerged from the house, laughing with a middle-aged couple. The Harrises, I presumed. They shook hands and Claire got into her car. I watched as she checked her phone, frowned, then started the engine. I followed her at a discreet distance. To my surprise, she didn't head back toward her studio or her apartment. Instead, she drove to the outskirts of the city, eventually turning into the parking lot of the Harborview Hotel, the same hotel where Daniel had stayed the night before. My pulse quickened as I parked several spaces away and watched her enter the lobby. Was she meeting someone? Daniel had checked out, I was certain. So who was she here to see? I waited 10 minutes, then followed her inside. The lobby was elegant and understated, with a small bar off to the side. Claire wasn't in either space. I approached the reception desk. "Excuse me, I'm looking for Claire Morgan. She just came in a few minutes ago." The receptionist checked her computer. "Ms. Morgan is in the restaurant, I believe. Through those doors on the right." I thanked her and walked to the restaurant entrance. Through the glass doors, I could see Claire sitting alone at a table near the window, nursing a glass of wine. She looked pensive, almost sad. I pushed through the doors and approached her table. She looked up, startled. "Melody, what are you doing here?" "I could ask you the same thing," I said, sliding into the chair opposite her. She recovered quickly. "Meeting a potential client for lunch." "What's your excuse?" "I followed you," I admitted. "From the Harris's house." Her eyes narrowed. "You're spying on me now?" I needed answers. About what? About you. About why you'd try to destroy my marriage. Claire set down her wine glass carefully. "Is that what Daniel told you?" "That I'm trying to destroy your marriage?" "Not in those words. But he believes you've been manipulating me, creating doubt, driving a wedge between us." "And you believe him?" Her voice was tight. "I talked to Mark last night," I said quietly. The color drained from her face. "Whatever he told you?" "He told me you've been in love with me since college." "That it's why you divorced." Claire's laugh was brittle. "That's absurd. Mark was jealous of our friendship, that's all. He couldn't handle not being the center of attention. It's not just what Mark said. It's everything I've seen but refused to acknowledge. The way you've always needed to be the most important person in my life. The way you've subtly undermined Daniel from the beginning." I leaned forward. "The way you've lied to me about him." "I have never lied to you," she insisted, but her eyes flickered away. "You told me you saw Daniel kissing a woman at Riverfront Cafe. That wasn't true, was it?" "I know what I saw. Did you see it? Or did you make it up to make me doubt him?" Claire's silence was damning. "You've been my closest friend for 15 years, I said, my voice breaking. "I trusted you with everything. How could you do this?" Something in her seemed to crack. "How could I not?" she whispered. "Do you have any idea what it's been like, watching you with him all these years? Watching you build a life with someone who doesn't appreciate you, who doesn't see you the way I do?" "Daniel loves me," I said. "Not like I do." Claire reached across the table for my hand. I pulled back. "No one could ever love you like I do, Mel. No one knows you like I do." "You don't know me at all," I said coldly. "If you did, you'd know I would never betray Daniel. And I would never forgive someone who tried to destroy what we have." "What you have is falling apart," she said desperately. "You said it yourself. You've been passing each other for months. The passion is gone. You're just going through the motions." "All marriages have rough patches," I said. "We were working through ours until you started planting doubts. I was opening your eyes to the truth." "Your version of the truth." I stood up. "We're done, Claire." She grabbed my wrist. "Don't say that." "Please, Mel, I made a mistake. I was trying to protect you." "No, you were trying to have me for yourself." I pulled free. "Goodbye, Claire." As I walked away, she called after me. "He'll hurt you eventually." "They always do." I didn't look back. Outside, rain had given way to weak sunshine. I sat in my car for several minutes, trembling with emotion. Grief for a friendship that had been poisoned from within. Relief at finally seeing the truth, determination to repair the damage to my marriage. I drove to Mark's apartment. Daniel answered the door, eyes wary. "Can we talk?" I asked. We sat on Mark's balcony, the city spread out below us. I told him everything. My conversation with Mark, following Claire to the hotel, her confession. I should have seen it sooner, I said. All the signs were there. Daniel took my hand. She was your closest friend. You trusted her. That's not a failure on your part. But I doubted you because of her. I let her come between us. We let a lot of things come between us, he said gently. Work, stress, routine. We stopped talking, really talking. That created the space for doubt. He was right. We'd grown complacent, taking each other for granted. Claire had exploited the cracks, but we'd allowed those cracks to form. Where do we go from here? I asked. Home, he said simply. Together. We start over. We rebuild. Stronger this time. I looked at him. This man I'd chosen, who'd chosen me. Despite everything, the foundation was still there. Damaged but intact. I'm so sorry, I whispered. So am I, he said, pulling me close. For lying about the hotel. I just needed space to think. I understand. And I did. We'd both made mistakes, none fatal. What about Claire? He asked. She's not part of our lives anymore, I said firmly. That chapter is closed. We went home together. The house felt different somehow. Cleaner, clearer, as if a fog had lifted. We talked late into the night about everything we'd been avoiding. About what we wanted for our future. About how to protect what we'd built. In the morning, I woke to find Daniel's side of the bed empty. Panic fluttered briefly before I heard sounds from the kitchen, the coffee grinder, pots clattering. I followed the noise and found him making breakfast, humming quietly. Morning, he said, smiling. Hungry? I nodded, sliding onto a bar stool at the counter. Starving. As he turned back to the stove, my phone buzzed with a text. Claire, I'm sorry. Please don't throw away 15 years of friendship. Can we talk? I showed Daniel the message. What do you think? He considered it. That's entirely your decision. I won't tell you who to be friends with. Even someone who tried to break us up. He flipped a pancake. Even then, I trust you, Mel. Completely. His trust was a gift I hadn't expected. I looked down at Claire's message again, thought about all we'd shared over the years. The good and the bad, I typed my response. I need time. A lot of it. Don't contact me again until I reach out. I set down the phone and looked up at my husband. I think we should renew our vows, I said suddenly. For our anniversary next month. Just the two of us. A fresh start. Daniel's smile was all the answer I needed. 3 weeks later, my phone rang as I was leaving work. Daniel. Hey, I answered, smiling. I'm on my way home. Need me to pick up anything? His voice was strange, distant. Melody, we need to talk. Something in his tone made my blood run cold. What's wrong? Not over the phone, just come home, okay? I drove faster than I should have, mind racing through possibilities. Had something happened to his parents? Had he lost the resort project? Was he sick? When I pulled into our driveway, his car was there. I rushed inside, calling his name. He was in the living room, sitting on the couch, a suitcase beside him. My heart stopped. Daniel? He looked up, his expression unreadable. I got a job offer. In Seattle. The firm I've always wanted to work with. They want me to start next month. Relief washed over me. That's wonderful. Why didn't you just tell me on the phone? Because I've decided to take it. His voice was flat. Alone. I stared at him, uncomprehending. What do you mean, alone? I mean, I'm going to Seattle and you're not coming with me. He stood up. I'm not coming back, Melody. Not this time. But why? I whispered, the world tilting beneath my feet. I thought we were fixing things. I thought we were starting over. So did I, he said quietly. Until I saw these. He handed me his phone. On the screen were dozens of text messages between me and Claire. Explicit messages. Plans to meet. Declarations of love. Photos I'd never taken. Never sent. These aren't real, I said, horror dawning. I never sent these. They came from your phone, Mel. She must have cloned it somehow or hacked it or... Stop, he cut me off. Just stop the lies. Mark told me everything. Mark? I repeated, confused. But he's the one who told me about Claire, about how she's always been in love with me. Daniel shook his head. He told me you admitted it, that you've been seeing her for months, that you were just using me as cover while you figured out your feelings. That's insane, I protested. I haven't even spoken to Claire since that day at the hotel. You know that, do I? His voice hardened. Because according to your texts, you've been meeting her regularly, including at her lake house last weekend, when you said you were at a work conference. I was at a work conference. You can call my boss, my colleagues. I did, he interrupted. They said you took personal time. My head swam. That's not possible. Someone's lying to you. Someone's setting me up. Like you tried to convince me Claire was setting me up? He laughed bitterly. I have to hand it to you, Mel. You almost had me believing I was the bad guy. Daniel, please, I begged, reaching for him. This isn't real. None of it is real. He stepped back. I'm done with the gaslighting. I'm done with the lies. He picked up his suitcase. My flight leaves tonight. The divorce papers will come through your attorney. Don't do this, I whispered, tears streaming down my face. Don't throw away 12 years over fabricated texts and lies. For a moment, doubt flickered in his eyes. Then his phone buzzed with a new message. He glanced at it, his expression hardening again. Goodbye, Melody. He walked past me to the door. I followed, desperate. Daniel, wait. At least talk to me. Let me explain. There's nothing to explain, he said coldly. It's over. The door closed behind him with a terrible finality. Through the window, I watched him put his suitcase in the trunk of his car, get in, and drive away without looking back. I stood frozen in our entryway, the ghost of his goodbye lingering in the air. My phone buzzed in my pocket. With trembling hands, I took it out, a text from Claire. I heard what happened. I'm so sorry, Mel. Let me help you through this. I'll be right over. As I stared at her message, understanding dawned with horrifying clarity. The lake house, the fabricated texts, the lies told to Daniel through Mark. Claire had orchestrated all of it, and she thought she'd won. I typed back, "Yes, please come. I need you." Then I went to the kitchen and poured myself a glass of wine. I sat at the dining table waiting. 20 minutes later, the doorbell rang. Claire stood on the porch, concern etched on her face. I let her in without a word. "Oh, honey," she said, pulling me into a hug. "I'm so sorry." I allowed the embrace for a moment, then stepped back. "Wine?" I offered, my voice surprisingly steady. "Please," she said, following me to the kitchen. "What happened?" Daniel called Mark in a rage, something about Seattle and divorce. I handed her a glass. "He's leaving me, going to Seattle for a job. He thinks I've been having an affair." "With who?" she asked, eyes wide with manufactured innocence. "With you." She nearly choked on her wine. "Me? That's ridiculous. Where would he get that idea?" "From texts," I said calmly. "Texts that appeared to come from my phone to yours. Texts I never sent." She shook her head. "Mel, that's crazy. Why would—" "Stop," I said quietly. "It's over, Claire. I know what you did." Her expression shifted, almost imperceptibly. "I don't know what you're talking about. You cloned my phone or hacked it somehow. You created fake text exchanges between us. You got Mark to lie to Daniel about me admitting to an affair with you. You orchestrated this entire thing. Melody, you're not thinking clearly. You're upset, and—" "I'm thinking perfectly clearly," I interrupted. "For the first time in months. You couldn't have me, so you made sure no one else could either." Claire set down her glass, her pretense of confusion giving way to something darker. "He was going to hurt you eventually. I was just speeding up the inevitable." The admission, so casual, so callous, stole my breath. "You destroyed my marriage. I saved you from wasting more years on a man who doesn't deserve you." She stepped closer. "He left, Mel. At the first sign of trouble, he packed his bags and ran. What does that tell you about his commitment?" "It tells me that your manipulation worked exactly as planned." "Or it shows you who he really is," she countered. "Someone who would believe the worst about you without even giving you a chance to explain." "Because you made the evidence irrefutable," I said. "How did you do it? How did you get access to my phone?" She shrugged, dropping all pretense. "It's not that hard with the right software. And I've always known your passwords. You never change them. And Mark? How did you convince him to lie for you? Mark still loves me, she said simply. He'd do anything I asked, including help destroy my life, including help free you from a marriage that was suffocating you. Claire moved closer, her voice softening. I did this for us, Mel, so we could finally be together, the way we were meant to be. There is no us, I said coldly. There never was. You don't mean that. She reached for me. You're angry now, but you'll see. This is for the best. I stepped back, bumping against the counter. Get out of my house, Melody. Get out! I screamed, all my composure shattering. Get out, or I swear to God, I'll call the police. She stared at me, stunned by my outburst. You don't mean that. Try me. I pulled out my phone. One call, Claire. That's all it will take. I'll tell them everything. The stalking, the harassment, the identity theft. How you systematically work to destroy my marriage. They'll never believe you, she said, but uncertainty had crept into her voice. Maybe not. But the investigation will be very public, very messy. Your business reputation would be ruined. Is that what you want? For a long moment, we stood facing each other across the kitchen, 15 years of friendship reduced to this toxic standoff. Finally, Claire picked up her purse. You'll call me, she said with desperate certainty. When the shock wears off, when you realize he's not coming back, you'll call me. You always do. Not this time, I said. Never again. At the front door, she paused. He never loved you the way I do, Mel. No one ever will. That's the problem, I said quietly. What you feel isn't love. It's obsession. After she left, I collapsed onto the couch, trembling with rage and grief. My marriage was in ruins. My oldest friendship revealed as a poisonous lie. My life as I knew it, over. I picked up my phone and called Daniel. Straight to voicemail. I left a message, my voice breaking. Please call me. Claire confessed. I can explain everything. Please don't leave like this. I love you. He didn't call back that night. I learned that an empty house makes particular sounds. The refrigerator's hum suddenly more pronounced, the tick of the wall clock like a hammer, the wind against the windows a mournful wail. In the morning, I called in sick again. I couldn't face the world yet, couldn't pretend normalcy when nothing would ever be normal again. I tried Daniel again. Still voicemail. I texted. Claire admitted everything. She hacked my phone, created fake texts, got Mark to lie to you. Please call me. No response. By afternoon, desperation drove me to action. I booked a flight to Seattle for the next morning. I would find him, make him listen. We'd built too much to let it end like this, on a foundation of lies. As I was packing, the doorbell rang. My heart leaped. Daniel? But when I opened the door, it was a courier with an envelope. Inside were divorce papers, already signed by Daniel. His attorney's contact information was paperclipped to the front. I sank to the floor, the papers clutched in my hand. It was really happening. After everything we'd been through, he was walking away without a backward glance, without even hearing my side of the story. My phone rang, a Seattle area code I didn't recognize. I answered with a surge of hope. Hello? Mrs. Reynolds? This is Sheila Moss from Westlake Architecture. Your husband asked me to call you about shipping his personal items to our Seattle office. Can I speak to him, please? I'm sorry, he's in meetings all day. He said to tell you his attorney will handle all communication going forward. The cold formality of it struck me like a physical blow. Did he also tell you our entire marriage was destroyed by a manipulative liar? I asked bitterly. Did he mention that he didn't even give me a chance to explain before running away to Seattle? Uncomfortable silence. I'm just calling about his belongings, Mrs. Reynolds. It's Ms. Wright, I corrected, reverting to my maiden name with sudden, fierce determination. And you can tell Daniel that I'll have his things sent to a storage facility. He can arrange access with my attorney. I hung up, shaking with a potent mixture of grief and anger. The fight had gone out of me. If Daniel could discard 12 years so easily, what was I fighting for? I canceled my flight to Seattle. I called a divorce attorney. I started the painful process of disentangling my life from Daniel's. 2 weeks later, I was packing the last of his books when my phone rang. "Daniel," I answered, my heart racing despite my resolve to stay detached. "Hello?" "I talked to Mark," he said without preamble. He admitted Claire put him up to it. Said she'd been planning it for months. I sat down on the edge of the bed. "I tried to tell you that." "I know." His voice was rough with emotion. "I should have listened." "I'm sorry, Mel." "Sorry doesn't undo the damage," I said, surprising myself with my coldness. "I know that too." He paused. "I'm coming home. We need to talk face to face. There's nothing to talk about. You made your choice, Daniel. You left." "I made a mistake," he said desperately. "A terrible mistake." "Please, Mel, give me a chance to explain, to make this right." I closed my eyes, remembering the finality in his voice when he'd said goodbye. The divorce papers he'd signed without hesitation. The way he'd refused my calls, my texts. "No," I said quietly. "I won't." "Melody, please. You didn't believe in me." I cut him off. "You didn't trust me. After 12 years, you were willing to believe the worst about me based on texts and hearsay. What kind of foundation is that for a marriage?" "We can rebuild," he insisted. "Stronger this time, like you said." I thought about Claire's manipulation, her obsession disguised as love. About Daniel's mistrust, his willingness to abandon everything we'd built. About my own blindness to the toxicity that had surrounded me for years. "No," I said again, my voice stronger. "We can't." "Mel, I'm not coming back," I said, echoing his words from that terrible day. "Not to you, not to Claire, not to any relationship built on such a shaky foundation. I deserve better. I deserve the truth and trust and love that doesn't destroy." Silence stretched between us, years of history crumbling into dust. "I do love you," he said finally, his voice breaking. "I've never stopped." "I believe you," I said gently. "But it's not enough anymore." After we hung up, I stood at the window, watching cherry blossoms swirl in the spring breeze. The same view I'd had when he first told me he wasn't coming back. But this time, the hollowness in my chest was giving way to something else. A space opening up, not for grief or rage, but for possibility. For a life rebuilt on my terms, with people who deserved my trust. I picked up my phone and deleted Claire's contact. Then Daniel's. One by one, I removed the toxic connections that had defined my life for too long. "I'm not coming back," I whispered to the empty room. Not a threat or a punishment, but a promise to myself. A new beginning. Outside, spring continued its relentless renewal. Inside, so did I.
And that wraps up today's story. Now we want to hear from you. Where are you watching from? Drop your city or country in the comments, and let's see how far these stories reach. If this story moved you or gave you chills, give it a like, share, and subscribe for more powerful stories. One last thing, rate the story from 1 to 10 in the comments. Your feedback helps us bring you even better ones next time. Thanks for watching. We appreciate you being part of this storytelling journey.